Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and for all those with good eyesight, yes, I am stuck out the way again because we're going to be taking a look at a heatsink. I did the Scythe Mine, or Scythe, as a lot of you told me I needed to say it, Scythe Mine 2 cooler quite recently, and this is the Rasetsu. It's quite a mouthful to try and pronounce. But basically this is the face down cooler version of the Yasa that we reviewed recently on Overclock 3D. And when I was asked to have a look at this, the Yasa was quite quiet and did perform relatively well as well. So I'm quite looking forward to see whether the design changes work well with the face down style. But anyway, I've already taken it out of the box, so I'll move that out of the way and I will bring the cooler in for you to have a look at. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom the camera in a little bit, and then we'll move the heatsink round for you all to have a look at. Thank you, Mr. Delivery Man. I will be 2 seconds. Right, sorry about that guys. You will get used to the deliveries in this place, and yes, my doorbell does give you a heart attack. But anyway, let's have a look at the Rasetsu. As you can see, it's a face down style cooler. And we've got angular heat pipes here, part of the design. That's quite funky. Now what I want to do is try and take the fan off without mullering it too much. There we go. Because the reason why I've done that, as you've probably noticed now, is all the fins are really funkily angled and at different levels. It's a really funky design, but also I wanted to bring you real close up in of the heat pipes, because they alone are practically a work of art. You've got 6 heat pipes in total there, going right the way through the base of the block, and there is a large heatsink on the base of the block as well. But yeah, the design of this, it's quite a looker really. The fins aren't as thick as they were on the Mine. But something else that I was really impressed with is the mount. Now it does come with mounts for, this is 775, 1155, 1156 and 1366, and yes, they are just push pins, but they do come with mounts for AMD as well, so your AM2, AM3s, they'll all fit. But pretty much all you have to do with the mount is just take the clips and then push them into place on the block, and then that's it. And then all you do is you line the push pins up on your motherboard with whatever you've got on your motherboard basically, and that's it. It's quite a simple mount. Yes, I know there are going to be a lot of people that are not going to like push pins. They can wear out over time and they can be a bit of a pain in the bum, but it's quite a simple design. It has been with us for quite a while, so for beginners out there this could be very handy. One thing I will say with push pins though is if you have a lot of stuff around the socket of your board, like heat sinks and stuff like that, just go careful, because where this heat sink is quite big, sometimes it can be difficult to get your hands in and around to be able to locate these and push them down. So if you've got a really busy motherboard area, think carefully about how you're going to fit it and whether you'll be able to, do you know what I mean? So it all comes down on how much you want to persevere and stuff, but you know, most of you shouldn't have a problem whatsoever. The fan is PWM, so you can have it running off your motherboard and just let it run away and just go absolutely berserk, or you can set it in the BIOS. But also at the back we've got a PCI bracket so that you can just adjust it manually as well. So all good there, really. What we're going to do now is I'm going to get this popped in the usual test rig, and then we'll see how it fares in the overclocked 3D test bench. Right then guys, got it all in and mounted. As you can see, it's quite beefy, and where it's low profile it's still quite low down, so you will still need to be careful with tool RAM heat sinks. Obviously anything around and about the normal size of a PCB, as with most of the other coolers, should fit fine. When I was getting it in there, trying to get the top push pin in did require me to take the front, the sides and the roof off, so I could put my hand down in through, excuse me, the roof fan. It was very tight and I was literally having to, it's a two-handed job, so that top push pin there was a complete pain in the bum. So the other ones are okay, but again it's where it's so enclosed behind the cooler. I just want to show you the fan speakers. This is it on its lowest setting, and it's not tremendously loud, it's quite quiet, but it's not silent either. But when you turn it up to full speed, it's a bit like the mine. It's a very Jekyll and Hyde cooler. But what we'll do is we'll put it through some of the usual overclock 3D heatsink tests. Okay guys, I just need to show you this quickly. This is after about 15 minutes at 4 GHz. And obviously we've got prime running, but yeah, that's the temperatures. I'm going to have to turn this off because for some reason, as soon as the rig gets to 90 degrees with this cooler, it's shutting off. So I just wanted to show you that quickly. And what I'm going to do now is just run a quick stock test, which I don't normally do, but I'm starting to think I may have to implement it with coolers like this. Right then guys, I've knocked the core speed down to, you know, near as damn it what you'd expect for stock. As you can see, the core voltage is 1.184. That's actually a tiny little bit lower than what a motherboard would set it to at auto. But anyway, if we come down, those are the temperatures for the cooler with it at full speed. And as I said to you before, it's not it's hardly very quiet. We have got prime running, but what I'm going to do is, you can see those temperatures now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the fan speed down, and then we'll pop back in 15 minutes or so and just see what the temperatures have got like with it on silent. Well, quiet. Right then guys, this is with the fans turned down. Pleasantly surprised with this, because this isn't too bad a temperature. I'd prefer that to have been an overclock temperature, but we need to remember this isn't a behemoth of a CPU cooler. Still at stock, and we've still got prime running. Literally all I've done is just turn the fans down, but that's not a bad score at all. But let's get this video wrapped up and get it all concluded. Right then guys, this is the end of the video for the Rasetsu. I was going to grab the box in, but it's open. Yeah, now what I want to start by saying is we can't really compare every cooler to like the real top end coolers, because a lot of them are just not marketed at being behemoth overclocking heat sinks. At the end of the day, this is a low profile heatsink, or low profile face down heatsink, and it would probably suit the small cases, so cases like the Vulcan and stuff like that. Now, if you're running an AMD twin, triple, quad core, even overclocked, this would be fine. If you were running a i3, this would be fine. Even an i5 with a reasonable overclock, this would still cope very well. The only problems that you're going to get is like with i5s with massive overclocks, or overclocking on the i7 platforms. It all comes down to voltage with the i7 platforms, because with mine it overclocks quite well at quite a low volt. Now if you're running a 920 or a 930 that needed over 1.3 volts for even like 3.6, then this cooler is really not going to be able to cope. I would say this cooler is alright for an i7 at stock, but it's still not the quietest thing in the world, and I'd still go as far as to say there probably are better coolers, because if you spent money on 1366 board RAM and all that kind of stuff, then you're probably going to want to stretch a little bit more for your cooler. But for the other kind of lower end stuff, and we need to kind of remember as well, it is quite a good looking cooler. I do love the way all those heat pipes and stuff look, but obviously it's not the easiest thing to be able to see once it's in your rig. And it can be quite difficult to get behind the cooler to be able to fit it. So one thing I would suggest is that if you're looking to buy this, please at least consider the fact that you may need to take the motherboard out to be able to fit it properly. But again, I love the look of it. I love all the different level and kind of like angle fins and stuff. I really like that. I do think again with the Scythe, it's probably to a certain extent being let down by the fan. So an ongoing thing with the last couple of Scythe coolers that I've done, it'd be amazing if you guys could bring out a fan with a decent static pressure, but that's relatively quiet as well, just to put on your heat sinks, or just, not being funny, just stick a sticker on somebody else's that works, because that seems to be the problem at the moment. Is when you spin them up, they're just quite loud. But yeah, I don't want this to be a negative bashing. It's not the best cooler in the world, but at the same time, you just need to consider what you want to use it for. Like I said, people with the lower end processors and sockets, and also for people with smaller cases, because a lot of them, like the NZXT Vulcan that I said before, don't have the room for a full upright 120mm fan. This could be absolutely ideal for you. So yeah, it's not up to i7 standards, but at the same time it could be perfect when used in kind of the right way. It is pretty much a riddle with this one, because I don't want to bash it too much, but I really do like the look of it. So another difficult one, and it's mainly because I can't test on every different socket, but yeah, this could be quite good for LANers, again people with small cases, not necessarily a HTPC case, because you're not really going to have a lot of room in there for it. But yeah, definitely the smaller M80X rigs and stuff like that, or people that have got like a warm room and want air blowing at their board to keep the other parts cool, and yeah, this could be right up your street. So if I was going to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it quite a generous 5, to be quite honest with you, or a 6, do you know what I mean? Very stretched, but probably a generous 5, because it's got a lot of good things going for it, but when it comes to heat dissipation, it just can't cope with the heat of the higher end processors. It will perform a lot better on the cooler processors, as we've shown with the stock results on the i7. It did keep the temperature below 70 at stock. So with like the i5s, the i3s and the AMD processors, as long as you're not looking for world record overclocks, it will serve you very well. So again, you just need to, I'm kind of relying on you guys to be able to use your brains and to be able to consider many factors yourself. I'll give you the information that you need, but then that's to aid you make your own choices, rather than me just going, you need to do this. It's more like going to school, having an education really, and I apologise for my stupidness. Anyway, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. But do keep an eye on because we've got plenty more coming for you this week. So yeah, see you later guys.